Hey, well, friends, thank you so very much for joining us on this 30-day video devotional through my new book, The People Factor. Listen, I am convinced that 2014 is the year to do relationships better. And if you haven't already picked up a copy of The People Factor, make sure that you do. This is a tremendous book, and I'm not saying it because I wrote it. I really am firmly convinced that the hand of God is on this book and that it is going to impact you in tremendous ways and almost change in many aspects the way you do relationships, or even help you to reevaluate the people that are in your life. I've been able to bring in and have conversations with tremendous influencers from around the world, people of success and favor in areas of business and leadership and consulting. And today we've got a dear friend of mine, a tremendous woman who is a just phenomenal woman, Proverbs 31, virtuous woman, but then also a business mind, a marketing guru. She's known as Janice Johnson. People call her your ministry marketing guru, but I've known her for a very long time, and she has been blazing trails not only in corporate America, but as an entrepreneur. And so, Janice, it's an honor to have you with me on this call and to just talk about a chapter that's really near and dear to my heart, chapter 10, which is what I call the law of constructive transition, or changing places. Now, I tell stories in this chapter that are very personal because I had to learn this law the hard way. I had to learn it because there was an individual who was really near and dear to my heart for many years that had to kind of change places in my own life so that I could move forward into the things that God called me to do. So let's take a little bit of time and talk about that, because I imagine with the work that you do, leading leaders all around the country, the work that you've done in corporate America, I can imagine that you've seen this principle or had to live through this principle in a number of different ways. Talk to me about why you think this is significant, why the book has been a blessing to you, and just let's talk through your lens, the lens through which you do what you do, and just help others as a marketing guru. Why has this book been, in particular this chapter, very significant for you?
Well, Pastor Moody, let me first say thank you for inviting me on this call today. And I am so excited and proud of you. I've watched you do tremendous things with your life and your ministry. And this book, really, I feel like it really ups the ante. It really just positions you and your ministry and your work in such a great way. Many people write books, but this is like a game changer. I can't put my book down. I keep going back to it. It's helped me on a personal level, and then also in my business, and even in ministry. It's been really, really critical for me, the things that you point out here. So thank you and congratulations on such a great work.
Thank you.
May it bless many lives. I know it will. Now, the book in itself, to me, the emphasis on relationships has been important because I work with leaders, as you know, all day, every day. And relationships really, not the process that I go through with them, but the value of the relationships they have really dictates how their organizations and their ministries flow. Mm-hmm. And this is the missing component. We don't talk about that. They want me to tell them often in our work, okay, Janice, what is working? Should we be on social media? Should we use postcards? Shop it on television? And a lot of times the cracks, and it's that secret crack, is that hidden crack, is really in the relationships. And I don't often get to talk to them about that on the first try, but this book is something I'm going to definitely recommend because it's like, man, it changed my life. So I've told you in some of our conversations that I've highlighted this book, written in this book. My book doesn't even look as good as yours. If everybody can see it, it's worn already. And I love it. So I just want to talk to you about the importance of this chapter to me and the people that I work with. Because I work with leaders who, and particularly pastors, and one of the things that they, I think they don't realize is the great impact that they have on the people that they serve. Their voices carry more than just a good idea. For many of the people that they lead, it is the idea, it's the thing to follow. And so sometimes when a person is in transition, it's important what those voices say to them. And so I appreciated this chapter. I highlighted a couple of things I wanted to say to you about it. I appreciated the fact that you started out by acknowledging the fact that although there are leaders in our lives, although there are people that we value and people that are close to us, our ultimate responsibility is to listen to what the voice of the Lord is saying and to hear God. And what I realize is a lot of times, especially in business, you get so caught up in the latest guru and the latest influencer, and their voice becomes louder than the voice of the Lord in your life. And so when they don't match what you're feeling on the inside, or that gut feeling for those who are not believers, when your influencer's, your mentor's voice is louder than that gut feeling, we sometimes make destructive decisions.
Yeah.
And what I realized that you talked about in here, which I thought was so graciously said, is that many times we come at a crossroad where we have to make a decision on whether we're going to disappoint or whether we're going to disobey.
Wow.
And so, but you don't hear that. As a leader, I'm not going to stand at a stage and say, you know what? Sometimes I may say something that doesn't resonate with what's inside of you or what God has told you or that gut feeling for you. Yeah. Sometimes you have to follow that. Many leaders don't say that. So, but all of us face it. Yeah. That's the thing. All of us face that decision. And so you gave 5 gracious ways to make the tough decision. To have, we've heard, I'm sure you heard of the book, Fierce Conversation.
Right.
So, but what I love is that you don't call it fierce. You really point out that it can be done with compassion. We can salvage relationships. And so I wrote in the sidebar of my book that, you know what, sometimes we need to have courageous conversations.
Yeah.
And when we have those conversations, we must have them with compassion. So this was very helpful to me.
Well, I think the most important thing is that you've got to understand that your behavior is not indicative of how they treat you, meaning that you've got to do many of the things that I've instructed in the book, regardless of whether or not they come around or not. A lot of times our behavior is what I call contingent behavior, meaning that I'll do it as long as you do X, Y, and Z. And what you've got to understand is that you've got to be gracious and transition that relationship. And sometimes that transitioning is mental, meaning that maybe you don't call them as much as you used to. Maybe you used to take everything that they said with maximum weight in your life, and maybe it doesn't have that level of weight anymore. Those are ways that you can easily transition and keep moving forward without being destructive and ending that relationship in a way that burns bridges. Because we've got to first and foremost appreciate, even if they're no longer valuable for where we're going, they were at one point valuable for where we've been.
That's good. That's
good. The truth is, we all stand on the shoulders of somebody. And so they do have value in the journey of your life. One of the things that I talk about later in the book is that how all great relationships are a journey. And so you've got to understand that maybe they were really purposed to be a part of one phase of your journey, but not for the long haul. And that's okay. It doesn't make them bad people. It doesn't make them, anybody that's negative or hating. It just means that they were only purposed of God to be in your life for that season or that phase. You honor them for that, respect them for that, but then keep moving forward. But we have been talking through my new book, The People Factor, with Janice Johnson, business and media and marketing maven and guru. Her official title in many ways is she is your ministry marketing guru, but she's a phenomenal woman. Janice, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to just dialogue with me. And it is an ongoing process, and I look forward to us continuing to talk a little bit more about the people factor, and not only how it's been a blessing to you, but all of the leaders that you work with. Guys, if you haven't gotten the book, make sure you go and pick it up. It's available everywhere books are sold. Take care.